To another exciting edition of American Warrior Radio, the place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMAL, and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com, sponsored by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please, get comfortable, grab a beverage, because it's warm out there, probably iced tea on a day like today. It's a beautiful Saturday here on the Space Coast. And I also want you to grab a pen and paper, because we're always efforting to bring you important information that you can use and share with others. With that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. You all know me. I'm Garen Cohn. I'm an Air Force veteran, a retired legal advocate for veterans, and founder of AVET Project. But you also know that I never fly through the airwaves alone most of the time. Well, guess what? I'm flying solo today because my good buddy Glenn McGuffey, your retired manager of the Brevard County Veterans Service Office, isn't here today. He's actually at a function of his own out in Oklahoma. So Glenn, if you're listening, and I hope you are, and I know he is, how you doing out there, you Okie? Anyway, we're here in studio, and I got a couple incredible interviews that I want to share with you. But before we get that, I got some really important announcements. Remember, I told you to grab that pen and paper? Well, in your recent delivered hometown news, there's a Reader's Choice section, which includes a ballot for your choice of best business in Brevard County. There are dozens of categories, from best hamburger to best daycare, and one category is radio stations and talk radio stations. We're asking all of our WMEL friends and American Warrior Radio friends to make sure to vote for WMEL as your favorite category for local radio station, talk radio station, and news station. Remember, you have to mail or return your ballots in person to the hometown news by August 18th. This is a really fun thing for you to do, and it's something that would really show your love and support of WMEL, because you know what? Here on American Warrior Radio, if it wasn't for the generosity and the way that WMEL and John and Vern Harper subsidize American Warrior Radio, we wouldn't even be on the air right now. So thank you so much to the leadership here at WMEL. That's one thing that you can do to show your love for this station that brings you great programming day in and day out, including every Saturday from 11 to noon, American Warrior Radio. And folks, if you're listening to us in Nebraska or Minnesota, we love you too. And if you want to send a message to us about the great programming, you can do so. You can go right to 1300WMEL.com, or you can send it to kim@avetproject.org and let us know what you think. If you have any suggestions, we're open to that. Having said that, we got a couple other announcements I got to get out there. Listen, time is running short. There is a free, mark that word now, free Simple Wills and Advanced Directives clinic that AVET Project is putting on with the assistance of, we're assisting with, the Brevard County Bar Association, Brevard County Young Lawyers Division, Community Legal Services Mid-Florida, and Brevard County Legal Aid. We've had representatives from these groups and some local law offices that are participating on recent episodes, but I just want to share the nuts and bolts of this. If you're out there listening right now, and you're a veteran, or a family member of a veteran, or maybe you know a veteran that goes to church with you or works next to you at work, whatever. If they're a veteran and they don't have a simple will or advanced directive, it's high time they got one. And guess what? We're bringing it to you free. That's the magic word there, free. August 16th, that's a Saturday, from 10 to 2 at the Doubletree Hilton in Cocoa Beach. I want you to call to pre-register. You have to do this so they know who's coming. Spots are limited, and they are filling up. So please jot this number down, 321-631-2500, extension 514. I'm going to repeat that. All right, you got your pen? 321-631-2500, extension 514, or you can email brevardlegalaid@yahoo.com. All one word, brevardlegalaid@yahoo.com. They're going to set you up with all the particulars. They're going to pre-qualify you because it is income-based, but if you don't have a simple will, what's it going to hurt to dial that number and see if you qualify, because we want to get all of our veterans out there that assurance that when that time comes, because it's inevitable, folks, when that time comes, you're going to make it a lot easier for your family members. Again, free simple wills and advance directives for veterans and their family members, August 16th from 10 to 2, Doubletree, Hilton, and Cocoa Beach. And guess what? Glenn and myself are going to be there at the same time, simultaneously offering a free VA benefits seminar. This is great information. It's the kind of stuff that you hear us talk about on American Warrior Radio on a regular basis, but we're going to be going into a little more depth and probably have a little more time to address some individual questions you might have. We're not going to be doing exact claims representation at this seminar, but it's going to be a great opportunity for you to ask some questions and get some more information. Free Veterans Benefits Seminar at the Free Simple Wills and Advanced Directives Clinic on August 16th. You must call to pre-register, 321-631-2500, extension 514. Okay, I want to share with you also, this is already the 2nd of August. It's a beautiful Saturday, but you know what? As nice as it is, we're going to be out at Cocoa Beach at Coconuts on the Beach on August 9th and 10th with the International Dog Surfing Competitions. We want you to show your support for what we believe is Central Florida's hardest working military support group. That would be AVET Project. We're going to come to the beach. You want to run, jump, swim, surf, or just support AVET Project. Don't miss this end of summer beach weekend. You know, let your colors fly. It's Coconuts on the Beach, August 9th and 10th. If you don't know where it is, just Google it. This is going to be a fun event with awesome dogs, Booker D Surf Dog, and of course, AVET Project's beautiful little Koa and Boaz. Koa, by the way, if you didn't know, there's plenty of pictures up on Facebook, is a surf champion herself. She's riding that 9-foot board over those 4-foot swells, bringing the crowd to their feet, as Adam Steinberg would say. It's just a great deal, and you want to be there on August 9th and 10th at Coconuts on the Beach. So mark your calendar, save the date, be there and support us and have some fun on the beach. I'm going to throw this out also because it's coming up and we want teams to register. It is, get ready, the Battle of the Branches in Satellite Beach. I'm going to tell you it's going to be an awesome challenge on November 1st. Got a little time there, but it's never too early to start forming a team to compete against the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, even firemen and policemen from the local area on several challenges, one of which is the Big Pull, P-U-L-L, Pull Challenge. So I want you to go to AVET Project's website. There's a tab there. It's called BOTB, Battle of the Branches, and check it out. Share that flyer that's there, and there's also all the information for anybody that wants to form a team or an organization or business that wants to sponsor the event. So check that stuff out also. Hey, I've said a lot, but you know what? It's time to get on to an exciting interview. And you know, here on American Warrior Radio, we're always bringing you interesting people from our local area and even beyond. What we have today is 2 great interviews, and we're going to get started with a man that is here on site helping WMEL with some of our social media issues and making it a much more viewer-friendly and internet-friendly site where you can get a lot of cool information. It's none other in studio than Richard Martin. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Garrett. Thank you for having me.
What's the name of your company again?
WCN Interactive.
Okay, WCN Interactive. What's WCN stand for?
Web Consulting Network.
Web Consulting Network. Oh, that sounds pretty technical. But you actually make it really easy. I mean, I'm a complete dummy when it comes to technology and stuff, but I've attended many of your seminars, and you and your wife, Sherry, are very, very generous with your time in the community, both through the chamber outreach events where you teach about social media. But before we get into that, I want to ask you a little bit about your own background, because I know you're a veteran yourself. Why don't you share some of that with us?
Yes, I am a veteran. I'm of the Army branch, and I was in from 66 through 69, which was some interesting times. I did my basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, my AIT at El Paso. Can't remember the name of the base there.
Base gone by.
Base gone by. I'll think of it as we talk. And I spent the bulk of my time out in Okinawa for 2 years.
Okay, what was your MOS, Richard?
I do not know my MOS number. I was thinking of that, and I knew you were going to ask that, and I couldn't come up with it. Basically, I was long-range radar surveillance for Hawk and Herc batteries at that time.
And as I recall, I mean, you have an interesting and colorful past. A lot of us do. But tell us a little bit, give us a little flavor of what your service entailed when you were over in Okinawa.
Do you really want me
Yeah,
to say
share.
that?
Go ahead.
Basically, my job was to play football, which when you look at it was really interesting because that was obviously in the Vietnam era and build-up. We had 3 pros that were on the team. I don't know how many semi-pros were there, and college players that all got drafted in the service back then. But the build-up of the team was very, very strong. On that. So we had a very competitive team there on Okinawa.
Now, we're not talking flag football. We're talking pads and helmets.
We're talking pad and helmets. Unfortunately, I understand the military does not allow that any longer. But, you know, we went to Korea. We went up to Japan. We went to, well, we got one trip that we went down to Australia on that. There was a big SINCPAC championship game that was held at Hickam Field over in Hawaii. And the Army,
poor guy, you had to go to Hawaii to play football.
Army team and the Marine team played for the championship. We did not win. But I can't prove this, but everything that was said that year, which would have been 68, there was allegedly more money bet through the military on that game than there was in the Super Bowl that year. I can't imagine it, but that was a rumor that was going around for quite some time. But I know it was a very big interest within the military, and all the stadiums were always full.
It sounds like you had a good time, and I know that even today, whether it's some special functions, whether it's guys and gals that are in the tops in blue, there's all these other, you know, interagency rivalries and stuff. So it's interesting that you played against the Marines. You know, it's usually, you know, go Army beat Navy, but this time it would have been go Army beat Marine, but they beat you.
It was Marines. The big contingencies on Okinawa was Army, Marines, and the Air Force, obviously, on that side of it. And we had some interesting, purely military things that happened at that time that I was involved in as far as radar goes and that side of the equation. But
well, as you mentioned, the Vietnam War was going on, so.
Oh yeah, and you know, being long range radar, you know, we watch aircraft go out and watch aircraft come back in on that. So yeah.
How'd you like that tour in Okinawa?
Tour in Okinawa was fantastic. What I liked about it is I got off base a lot, and I got into the local community, into the local culture, and got to meet a chieftain and up in the mountain areas, and was invited to some really interesting Okinawan ceremonies. So learning the culture was very big for me, and I enjoyed that very much, having that opportunity.
And let's fast forward a bit, because you played at Big Mo at Mizzou.
I did have the opportunity to play in Missouri. Yes, that is correct on that, and got to carry it forward. You know, that's been playing football since I was like 12 years old. So
okay, so
doing that.
Fast forward. Now you've got WCN Interactive. How long has that company been in business now?
We've been around since '08. We first started out with the precursor to WCN Interactive, which was Web Connection, which is a web development company we started in '98, and then progressed into, as social media started coming around, into WCN Interactive, obviously for the interactive nature of social media.
Give me your elevator speech as to what WCN Interactive can offer anybody out there, any business.
WCN Interactive's primary focus is to train and educate people on the advantages, both personal and business-wise, of what Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter can do for you to help you grow your business.
Okay, and what are some of the examples? I mean, what can you actually, give me some details. What can you do if somebody comes to you and says, Richard, you know, maybe I'm a veteran-owned business and I'm just getting my feet wet in this social media, because it's a very powerful platform to help business and nonprofits and the whole bit. I mean, give me one nugget that you can offer them.
Well, the one nugget I would talk about as far as businesses go would be LinkedIn. And the benefit of LinkedIn, it is a business community, and it is a social community. So in the middle of that, it's okay to do business on LinkedIn. Facebook, it's much more social. You can do business, but it's indirect. On LinkedIn, you can come out straightforward and lay it out and put your sales proposition there and engage people. So I like LinkedIn a lot.
As a B2B platform?
It's much more of a B2B platform.
And what does that mean for people
business to business? Now, understand that there is a business page that you can put up in LinkedIn. I'm not referring necessarily to that. I'm talking about talking directly with people on a B2B basis, one-on-one. The other big thing about LinkedIn that is just awesome is they have a lot of very good, large, focused groups. So you can get into a group and then be able to stand out and let yourself be known. And once you let yourself be known and you can talk your talk and let people know what you do and that you're good at it, then the statement of being known before you needed comes in. And that's what it's all about. You
building that relationship. Okay.
You want to be rememberable.
Okay.
And that's the biggest thing that social offers, is the opportunity to be remembered when somebody else is in need.
Or you get so many fingers out there that even if somebody doesn't remember directly, there's somebody within that group that will and can pass the information along.
Exactly.
Hey, WCN Interactive's got the answer for you.
Look at social media as going to a chamber networking event.
Okay.
You know, you're going to get out there, you're going to meet people, you're going to shake hands, you're going to say hi, you're going to exchange business cards. Well, in the electronic medium, we can't exchange business cards, but I have your email address. I have ways to communicate with you. Facebook directly, LinkedIn, you know, you can send direct messages to. So you have all the same avenues online as you do offline. They're just a little different.
Sure. It is really essentially face-to-face because you're talking directly to the principals.
Exactly.
And but how navigable is LinkedIn? Because it's a, I can't say it's a thorn in my side, but man, I get a lot of messages that come over the wire, and it's like, I got to go through these.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like going to a networking event and standing in the corner and just looking at everybody else talking and having fun. If you don't get engaged, if you don't jump in the middle of the party and get to know people, you know, why be there on any of the channels?
And it's been said, and I think it's well accepted, that people's biggest fear is public speaking.
Oh, absolutely.
And in this internet environment, you don't necessarily have to do that. You just type a few words and get the conversation rolling.
Exactly. You know, on LinkedIn, most of the communication is one-on-one. Now, I still do public posts, and most people should do public posts because they'll get seen. On Facebook, it's a little bit different in the fact that you usually have many more friends than you do on LinkedIn, and it can be much broader in scope. But it's still the same process. Just think of it as a networking event.
Exactly. Now, Richard, I know also you're a disabled vet.
Correct.
Again, I want to thank you for your service. And because of your service, like so many of us out there, you had injuries that occurred coincident with your service. Give me a little primer on how the VA has treated you since you originally filed your claim.
Well, when I filed my claim, when I got out in '69, up to this year, stellar. Stellar, stellar, stellar performance. Kudos all the way up and down. Everything I did, every way I touched them and they touched me was just flat awesome. Since all this hullabaloo got started with the VA and all these problems, it has slid a little bit. They're not as fast, not as responsive, not putting anything or anybody down because I don't know what's going on the backside, but I have known a slowdown in responses and follow through and other things. And I know my doctor and several other doctors have retired and moved on to other situations in my local VA.
And I just want to share, and you're right here in front of me, so I know I can do this. AVET Project has played a part in helping you secure your benefits. It's really important that we reach out to veterans out there that maybe have never filed a claim before with the VA. If they, in fact, did have some disability or disease occur while they were in service, And you mentioned that it's been real good treatment all the way up till now. We know the VA is decades old with the problems they've had, but you're saying all of a sudden you've noticed that even in your small sphere, in the Richard world of VA claims, you've noticed a difference.
I've noticed a little slowdown there in the last 1 to 3 months. Yes.
And I always encourage, and I've encouraged you and everybody else, but you're a bulldog. You'll go at something and get it done to the end. A lot of guys and gals won't. They'll see an obstacle, they'll get a letter from the VA they don't understand, and they'll drop the ball and say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with it.
No, you can't do it. And I don't want to overly pick on the VA here because there are a lot of businesses that do the same thing. You just have to be patient, but very, very persistent in talking to them, and keep calling back if you can't get through. Make sure you're known to these people and that you're going to call. It's
about persevere.
The itch always gets a scratch. So
Exactly. Keep on them. Keep moving. And you yourself are connected with My Health eVet, correct?
That is correct.
And you've got also the additional site eBenefits, so you can track
Correct.
the progress of your claim. So you're kind of a success story, but you're still having some issues. But the number one takeaway is you have to persevere. You have to be willing to follow it through to the end.
Correct.
Okay, well, tell us, we got like 30 seconds. You're doing some work for WMEL. Is that exciting? We're excited to hear it.
Hey, love it. We're doing some social media work for WMEL with John and Vern, and they've been gracious enough to allow us to work with them. And it's just fun. That's a passion that Sherry and I have, and we just love doing it. And I think 6 months from now, people need to be paying attention to WMEL, not only from the radio side, but from the social side.
Give us a website. How can folks contact WCN Interactive?
Okay, it's www.wcninteractive.com.
And a phone number?
321-446-2156.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your time on this weekend with us, Richard. That's Richard Martin from WCN Interactive, a veteran himself, kicking it with WMEL. Thank you, Richard, for everything. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to be back in just a minute on American Warrior Radio here on AM 1300 WMEL. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after the break.